Good morning, Matt Frucci here from loo-FruciFit. If you didn't know, we help women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s get in shape, have fun, and do more of the things they know they need to do. So on Monday, I played football for probably the first time in a year, 6 months or so. And even then, that was once, and I didn't play for about 5 years before then. And it's now Thursday, and today is probably the first day I've managed to wake up and go, oh, my hips are okay, my ankles are okay, my legs aren't aching galore. Even my sides here, my biceps, arms, random places aren't absolutely screaming at me to the extent I can't get off the loo. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I want to show you some of the reasons why this has happened and what you can do if you experience something called DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness. Okay, so delayed onset muscle soreness essentially means that the muscles will feel sore a few days later. So, for example, I finished football, felt fine. Day after, oh, feeling a bit sore. The day after that, like yesterday, was even worse. It got worse. And the main reason that DOMS happen is actually because you do something different that you're not used to. It's almost like a bit of a shock to the body. It doesn't mean that I'm doing something necessarily superior. You shouldn't chase them. It doesn't mean I'm going to get better results. In fact, it probably means this week I'll burn fewer calories than I normally would. Hear me out. Because although that football burnt a lot of calories, it actually meant that the last few days I haven't moved that much because I can't move that much. However, here's some of the things that I can do so that if I play again, or when, let's be more positive, when I play again, I won't be in so much pain. What I can do, number one, is play more often. DOMs are very specific. If you change stuff a lot, you are more likely to get DOMs. I can't really mimic playing football if I go for a run because I'm running in a straight line. I'm not twisting, turning. There's no adrenaline. There's no excitement. So the result of that is I actually need to do that exercise more. It sounds odd because the thing that it tells me, okay, I better not do that again. The instant feedback is don't do it again. But actually, if you look at the research, it means that I need to do that more. I need to get over that and do that more. Okay. And it's the same if you're starting out with resistance exercise, morning Judy, and you haven't done any resistance exercise for a long time. What you need to consider is that if you're doing something you haven't done for a long time, you will feel quite a bit sore. That's quite common. However, over time, when you keep doing it, let's say rather than you get sore and you don't do it again for a month or a few weeks, you try and do it again in a few days. And what you'll build up over time is that strength, that tolerance to doing these moves correctly, safely, and your recovery will get better then. Your body will get more used to it, like anything. And this is the number one thing. And it sounds really odd because our natural reaction is to not do it again. But actually, what we need to do is do it more often. And people who actually train more get less DOMs, so less soreness, and better results than people who train once every now and then, like I did with football, right? So I played, sore as hell, better not do that for a few months. Play again, sore as hell, better not do that for a few months. And that's that vicious cycle that goes in. Now, of course, there is something called going in too hard too soon, and we don't want to do that, but that is going to be a bit of trial and error. And remember that you are more likely to get DOMs when you change things. So if you go in and you do something totally random and different, you might ache a little bit compared to if you do something, I've done these before, I've done these before, I've done these before. But the key thing to remember is if you're aching, it doesn't mean that it's worked better. It just means that you've probably done something a little bit different. Now, of course, sometimes you will ache because you've done more reps, more sets, maybe push yourself a bit harder, and that's okay. You've touched areas you haven't touched before. That's okay too. But it doesn't mean that if you're not aching, you failed, because the key thing is that you're getting stronger and fitter. And I always use this example. If I do squats every day, but I'm getting stronger over time, my legs will get stronger. So I'm lifting more weight, I'm doing more repetitions, I'm going deeper with my squats. I will get stronger over time. That is great. However, if I'm doing this every day, after about a month, there's no way I'll get any aches. I'll probably just recover so quick because your body's used to it. However, if I go in the next day and do lunges instead of squats, my body will ache like crazy because I've changed the stimulus. Because now, instead of doing squats, which my body is very used to, I'm doing lunges, which the single leg movement, and I might be lifting less weight. In fact, I will be less of a stimulus on the legs, but I'll be aching more. It doesn't mean I'm going to get better or worse results with this. The key thing is you get stronger over time. That is the key thing. You do that by showing up more often and consistently. Not all the time, of course, but not going, oh, I'm aching, I better not do that ever again. Because it's a vicious cycle, as I found out with football. Anyway, I can now get up and down from the loo again, so I'm happy. We live to go again. More protein needed, maybe a cold shower needed. Anyway, hope that helps. Have an awesome day, and any questions, as always, do let me know.